Welcome to the hottest movie review on the internet today, the A-List Review. I'm your host, the Game Changer, Wes Troop. And it's time for another Criterion Collection review. And as you know, if you've been watching the channel, I've slowly but surely been going through the Criterion Collection and the great movies that they have to offer. And this is one of the classic movies from the 1980s. I've reviewed it and, of course, have seen it before. It's spine number 905 in the Criterion Collection, the 1985 comedy drama, my review of The Breakfast Club. Coming up now. At Shermer High School, 5 high school students are forced to serve a 9-hour Saturday detention. The students are very different from each other, seeing as they're from opposite cliques, going into the detention as strangers or vaguely knowing each other. The assistant vice principal, Richard Vernon, assigns them to write an essay on who they think they are in no less than 1,000 words. While the students begin to agitate each other at the start of the detention and get into a number of arguments and fights with plenty of insults and middle fingers to go around, as they get to know about each other and hear about what they've been through, they begin to share a bond closer than any of them could have imagined. The Breakfast Club is a spectacular coming-of-age comedy drama. It's written, produced, and directed by John Hughes, who had directed the hit comedy 16 Candles the year before, in 1984, and would go on to direct other 80s classics such as Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This film, however, is one of Hughes' most memorable and recognizable works. The Breakfast Club premiered in Los Angeles on February 7, 1985, and then released wide on February 15, 1985, and was loved by critics and audiences alike, and was a box office success. The students represent different cliques from the high school's social setting: a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. It's interesting that the film is basically set in one location, that of the school library, throughout, so the main focus of the movie relies on the relationships and interactions that the characters have with each other. It also really helps here that these students are interesting, entertaining, and memorable characters. It's fantastic seeing these teens realize that there's more to each other than they originally thought, as they learn why they did some of the things that got them into the detention, or in their past, as well as some of the pressures and anxieties that have been put on them. There's really some serious topics discussed here, from trying to gain their parents' approval all the way to abuse. Of course, the problems the kids are facing are all still very topical today. The characters also have a lot of self-discovery through the detention and learn a lot about themselves. In lighter moments, the students mess with the assistant principal, run through the hallways, smoke pot, and of course, like in any good 80s movie, dance in a montage. There are some hilarious insults, comedic exchanges, and memorable lines. I also like that the characters are very relatable, some more to different viewers, and each of them really gets their time to shine in the film. This movie could be looked at as a social experiment of sorts as well, putting these 5 kids that think they have nothing in common together and then realizing they're not as different as they thought. There's also so many iconic teen movie moments, from starting with the film's poster all the way to the ending, iconic image at the football field. Emilio Estevez stars as Andy Clark, the jock who's in trouble for embarrassing a fellow student in the locker room. Molly Ringwald as Claire Standish, the popular girl the rest claim is a virgin. Judd Nelson as John Bender, the troublemaker who doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut. Anthony Michael Hall as Brian Johnson, the studious nerd the others think is naive. Ally Sheedy as Allison Reynolds, the outcast who begins to come out of her shell. And Paul Gleason as Richard Vernon, the assistant principal looking forward to making the kids pay. Of course, the iconic song by Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me, became a huge hit off of the film's soundtrack. In 2016, the movie was entered into the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. The Breakfast Club is one of the most famous films to come out of the 1980s and a must-watch teen movie we certainly haven't forgotten about. Number-wise, this is pretty obvious. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, which gives it the A-list rating of A-list approved. That's right, it gets the A-list seal of approval. All right, well, that's the show. I'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube. YouTube.com/WestsideOf515. Like the show on Facebook, Facebook.com/WestTroopAlist. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at WesAlist. Until next time, Troop out.